Hello and welcome to Straight Talk with me, Sifiso Mahlangu. It is 7 p.m. on a Sunday and this is ANN7. It's been about a week since we learned of the passing of our struggle icon and dear mother, Winnie Madikizela Mandela. And as the words of appreciation, the condolences continue to pour in South Africa, I took a few minutes to reflect. When I was a student at the university, I learned of a man who was a speaker who changed my perception of the African continent altogether. His name is Dr. Ladislas Agbesi, and he is my guest tonight. Dr. Agbesi, I welcome you to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and greetings to your listeners. But I'm impressed to see you kicking, doing, excelling very well.
Yes,
I
sir.
quite remember those days, some of you very smart, asking very great questions. And I think that today, together with you guys, you are up for us to take the where Mama have left it. I've been looking at you in the media, social media, and the great way you are doing. It means together you'll be part of the journey with us to move forward our dear continent.
Yes, sir. Almost 13 years ago, you addressed an auditorium at our university and fueled one of us with a fire to achieve the possibility that black success was possible. I did not imagine I'd be sitting with you on this show tonight. What inspired you? What brought you to the symbolism of achievement you possessed tonight? What made you the man you are?
It's about three main important things, and it's about the commitment, the background, and the dream of this, our dear continent. And I've seen it, and from that discussion, when I came to your auditorium and discussed with you guys, I always believe that poverty cannot be a barrier. Sickness cannot be a barrier. The barrier is our mind. I remember one of the word of Winnie Mandela. She came from nowhere. She never stopped fighting. And when I was a small young man in Benin, remember my country is a country of revolution. Benin is, some of us who were born in the 70s, our parents was in Russia. And the like man of my name, Ladislas, Karl, Mars, and all this. And we learn from people like Mommy that you never give up the struggle. Success, change of the continent is about a commitment. It's a revolutionary act. It become a religion for us. Leadership to change this continent is what you are doing. You are committed to something, and you become a talented person to that. And when I look at what I'm doing at the moment, people tell me it's an achievement. I don't know yet. I know the journey is still long, but I know we are making some progress.
Well, quite an achievement it is. Your profile is very heavy. You were at a point the advisor for Absa Bank, a board member of the African News Agency. You're currently the chair of the board for the African Diaspora Development and the president of the Pan-Africanist Business Forum. Interesting indeed. But what got my attention is that you are the man who's tipped to buy VBS Bank. Now, how did that come about? Tell me about this.
I'm just a lead into a consortium. And to come back to the background, I'll make some few corrections. 2008, after extensively working with some of my colleagues from the R&B, and we've changed the financial landscape in the continent. When I came for 2004, 2005, we realized that the risk components in the continent was quite very high, and the figuring, the KYC was quite, the prudent macro management of the financial sector from South Africa point of view to the continent was a great problem. So I've been able to work with some of my colleagues and in the mind of Jean Craven, and who are one of the people who have recommended me to be on the advisory board of Absa. He's today the chairman of Barak Fund, which I'm part of it with him from the beginning. And it's give me an opportunity when Steve Boyson that time wanted to change the mindset of the bank on the provincial level, created a special advisory board and put me inside. So I'm privileged to serve on that board, and it's followed me till now.
Well, in my research, I couldn't help noticing also that you are suing Iqbal Survey, the head of independent media. Talk to me about that. What happened? Why are you suing him? For how much are you suing him?
Yeah, definitely. Let me start from our continent. We have a fundamental Ubuntu strategy. And still, Mr. Abel is a big brother I respect so much. In our tradition, we don't disown our big brothers. And that's why Anna, for your information, is my thinking.
The African News Agency.
Yeah. And I must say that the first time the independence was launched, I met Mr. Ebal. And I met him the first time with France Marius, which is the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. And when I released Dr. Karabas, who was arrested in the UAE, I was the one who released him with Marius, and he introduced me to Agbesi Survey. I saw him among the people over there. And he told me this is one of the guys who was... but I did that one because of ANC, to release Dr. Karabas. But later on, I was invited to a friend to the inauguration of Independence newspaper. And it has been always that the fourth power, because I believe a lot in the media, needed to play its role extensible for the golden age of business for the continent. As the chairman of the Pan-Africa Business Forum, we have not integrated the strategy of the media, the media landscape. So that day, when we were launching, he was launching it, I was one of the people who supported him. And I discussed with him that it is one of the greatest news for the independence, the independence newspaper, the Sunday Time, which was the conglomerate she was representing, to start speaking on behalf of the African stories. You can't stay in New York or Washington to talk about our stories. So in terms of growth, our GDP, which is in the next 2050 to reach the 28.9 trillion ahead of America and Europe, there must be a serious, you have a job to sell who we are, our culture, our story, the reality of our revolution, where we are going. Nobody else can talk about it. And it is there in my speech that day. So that was something we were thinking of. And the only way to do that is through the routers, feeding of information. But it came to play a couple of months later, and we have an opportunity to get this in place. And I came in and discussed with him how we can do it, and put a lot of few resources in terms of a PR from the continent level, and go to many other African countries. And launching as a founder, we were supposed to invest some kind of money inside. I think it's quite important for me to go through this detail. And everything was done, and we needed the big brother to come up because we need to put the next level of investments. And it looks like he was not ready to show us even a company registration. Shares. You need some time before you continue investment, you need to see a draft of an investment. What you look like, I'm not like MK or Women League or somebody call you in the corner and said, you have shares and run PR for. No, not that. It is a design from myself. And we did that, and I think on a couple of times I have a discussion with Mr. Survey to give me, just to write to me, this is your share, this is how it costs so that we can put. He has never done it, and but because he's a big brother, we allowed it to go because we want the development. You don't always have to follow your big brother to take me to court and all those kinds, because we respect the embodiment of the person in terms of the vision for the media landscape. And some of the investors met me, with me. They told me that, what is your function? I told them, go and ask him, and he must tell me exactly what.
So why are you suing him now?
Because I think it's time for me. I've been, he defamed me in the public.
Okay.
He refused to recognize me as a founder, which he himself acknowledged. I've put money, extensive money, and it is my child. And I think now I want the ANA, African News Agency, Sagamata, I want them to sit down with me. I'm claiming majority into it. I know he'll think like it's a joke. I'll fight for it in South Africa, on the international level. And if they doubt me, they should give me a time to do it. But I respect it. I respect so much the media landscape of South Africa. For City Press, I respect them. I think you must always give a benefit of doubt for people. If they don't really know you, they can write anything. Yes, I admit that some of us has been in difficulties sometimes in our life. We met certain challenges. But that does not mean that we are who they portray us to be.
Let's talk about VBS Bank. How did you come to know of it and your potential coming to buy it? You'll need a lot of capital. It is the black bank, or considered the black bank in South Africa. And notwithstanding that it is rather, challenged at the moment.
So I'll tell you, that's why I want you to come through my team to the continent. Sometimes a lot of people sit in a four corners and talk. Some of us, we are doers. If you go to Ivory Coast, the people who start the revolution of the telecom in Ivory Coast, the first license is me. The first 150 kilometers of fiber optic in Ivory Coast is me. My telecommunication was sold to MTN. I was in the meeting over there. When you talk about some of the infrastructure in Ghana, Ghana Electrometer, it's my child baby. It's me. We employ 1.2 million people, direct and indirect people over there. If you talk about the Ghana, Togo, and Benin power pool, launched by President Obasanjo, very young age. Before you talk about those kind of Pan-African projects, you have to be able to show something in the continent. We just don't wake up one day, we think we are. It is a long-term process. The context of South Africa is quite very important in the geo-economic politics for the continent. We said the like mind of the financial sector of South Africa is one of the best in the world, among the top 11. And if we need to integrate a sound financial banking system, we need to start from South Africa. And we've been looking at, we have already put our architectural around South Africa. Mm-hmm. And as VBS offer the opportunity for my consortium. It's not really me, it's a consortium, which I lead. And that consortium sees two opportunities. In the context of South Africa, we have three levels of banking sector. The first one is the four banks, in the like mind of your ABSA, Standard Bank, Nedbank, and Standard Bank. Those ones have a special service: retail, investments, home loan, and the second one, they have, if you look at the second one, is Capitec, Investec, and you have African Bank. They are in a special niche. They have a special products. But the like mind of what we want to do, which is a black bank, which I wanted to remove the name black bank, African Bank, it is in a special area where we have our own bank and other bank people, which is our rural areas, our people. This is what the EFF and the ANC is been crying for a long time. And if you look at the projection, what we are looking at, we are bringing a different kind of concepts. We bring in on the corporate side a different kind of model. We are telling some of the African countries, you don't send your money outside. We are creating under the corporate, and in one of our mission, two of them for you. the sovereign capital here, where some of the African banks will come and use our VBS. If we manage to be, we are not yet the preferred, we are just in the list. We'll be having some of the African banks deposit their money with us here.
Some people have been very critical of the negative publicity that VBS has been getting in days gone by of late. It's under curatorship at the moment. Do you not see that that might be a potential challenge for you?
No,
or do you also consider that the attack on VBS is the attack on the African child because it is a black bank and, you know,
no, we need
some forces come against black institutions in this country?
Now, we need to be very... When we talk about... We should always separate when we're talking about the land issue and financial sector. The financial sector is a sector which needs processes and compliance. What happened at the...
And transformation.
Transformation also. What happened at the VBS, the work of the Reserve Bank and the curatorship is one of the best for us. Some of us who are interested, the curator is doing a great job. We're supposed to pay millions to pay for. And today, what happened at the VBS, it is people need to pay for, there's a lot of irregularities. And we as a black bank must not show people that we are people who are always doing things wrong. People must pay for what they are doing wrong with VBS. And that is why today we look at VBS and the recommendation of the Reserve Bank to the register as one of the best decisions. Because we want to be the best. We want to be the Pan-African banks. Let me tell you something. The advantage, what a lot of people don't know, if you look at the South Africa market, the growth of your population, by 2050, it's going to only grow for 9 million. But if you look at West and Central Africa, the population from 10 to 24 is 1.2 billion population. We are integrating a Pan-African bank in the context of South Africa for the continent. If we are adding a new product, which is the digital banking, which is reducing the risk, giving access to our people, our rural people, and giving them affordability. And you know, the KYC issues is becoming, with the 4 banks, a greater issue for our people to have access to the banking sector. We are coming, absorbing some of those risks with local partners through the African Development Bank.
And that will break the monopolies that exist in the banking sector of South Africa.
Definitely. And some of our partners in the continents are very ready to come and join us because their money is safe in terms of the regulator.
Agbesi, there is a school of thought that suggests that VBS has been attacked because it attempted to break a monopoly that exists in the financial sector.
No, I think there's a lot of
people are playing politics.
No, I don't think so. I think when black people, we do wrong most of the time, we put it in the name of black fighting against the white. Here, there is the concern as a banker coming from the risk background. I will not allow people to mismanage a bank. If you are a banker, you can't take a deposit and lend it for long term. Let us correct some of the fundamental in terms of what is the core, the deontology of the banking. Before we talk about the black money, this is what we are going to do. Don't worry about that. Whether people like it or not, we are going to have the black bank, the Pan-African Bank, which have already support of close to 38 African countries, the African Development Bank, and Arab countries, which have already trusted in me to say, if they give you the permission, we are there to support you. But we have to remove, when we do things wrong, we always want to put it in the name of I'm black. We need to correct that one. VBS was badly managed. People must go to jail. They must pay the price for that. And we come back. The same way in people like in Anna. People who are there who don't want to do things right. If I find out that they are doing things wrong, I'll take them to the high court and deal with them properly. But we have to start showing to the people that processing and compliances is part of us. If you look at our tradition, Ubuntu, our kings, they have their own setup. They respect the processing. When we call it black, does not mean that we are doing things wrong. We want to be a leading bank. When we go to London, because our process also, after we want to work with the curator for the next 3 years to see how we process. And listing the bank, like I predicted for Anna a couple of years ago, is happening. I'm going to be the first one who's talk about digital media and digital banking. We need to have in mind that we have to do even better. I'll give you a very small example. Last time I was at the airport, and I saw some white guy were jumping there. And I called them, I said, where you come from? He said, I'm from London. I said, where you come from? He said, I'm from the US. I said, can you imagine that in Africa, you don't follow the queue. You jump in the queue. Who is white between you and I here? They look at me. Because the new generation of us understand what is called accountability, compliances. And what is happening in the terms of South Africa context, there's no corruption. It's a lack of capacity. People don't understand what is processing. And when they do it wrong, politicians, you call it corruption.
Let's talk about your memories of Winnie Madikizela Mandela. I understand you went there yesterday and you paid homage and your respects to the struggle icon. Also in some of your writings, I've read how fondly you've written of her and how you've spent time in her house. And you know, you share that emotion with many other South Africans who've spent time in that house in Orlando. Take me to some of your memories.
You know, I'll summarize it in 3 levels. For me, I look at her as the real mother of the continent, president of this continent. Because our tradition, the Ubuntu, as you know, we from the Pan-African Business Forum value that the next generation, for us to move to where we are going to do, is to have the women to lead us. I see Mama all her life. Till last week she passed away. I've seen a woman who has suffered, he's been in prison. The people who said they are from other prison, for me, I don't see them as a prison, they are from hostel. The real person who was in prison
was Mama.
She
was still in prison.
She was still in prison till the last day. Because prison does not mean being in the 4 corners of a small wall. But when you are disturbed every day, you don't know what is going to happen every second. When somebody is going to come after you, what is going to happen tomorrow? When you are fighting with every type of problem, she's struggling every day, the last day. This is the real icon. That's why the continent will make a decision. We are in the process of coming out to some kind of resolution soon. We realize that the other part of the world, they didn't celebrate her like they celebrate Mandela. We take it as an offense. It's an offense for us, as the Pan-Africanists. We find it a very severe offense for somebody who fought for us, for the continent. And nobody respects him. But people are now coming to take all our wealth, our everything. It's because of her fight that some of us become conscious about this Pan-Africanism.
But some of the people who are celebrating her today were not there in the days of the struggle. Some who are celebrating her today were not even aware of her condition, her illness, had never seen her, did not visit her. Some of the people in the ANC today who celebrate the struggle icon had discarded her, almost divorced her after the time of her separation with former President Mandela. All of a sudden, there's a chorus, crying in memory of Winnie Mandela. That doesn't seem fair to me.
I'm giving a challenge to, I'm making, I don't want to surprise you. I'm putting in test the ANC of the President Cyril Ramaphosa and the EFF of Julius Malema to take an opportunity of Mama for a reconciliation for our continent. I'm throwing it to the 2 people that it's time, in the name of Mama, that ANC and EFF should come together and show us in the continent that because of this woman, we can still be together and be united. It is the only way they can remove some of our tears. Because we saw how much EFF have given a support for her. We've seen what ANC have done. The two parties who have been always around Mama has been EFF and the ANC. It's an opportunity we shouldn't miss to reconcile in the name of our people, in the name of our continent.
You speak passionately of politics. One is always reminded that you were a presidential candidate in your country of Benin in 2016. Yeah. Are you going to give the presidency a rerun?
It's not rerun. I'm going to be the president of Benin. It's not question to it. It's not negotiable. I've learned some of my mistakes in the past. I've grown out of it. And I'm looking at my economic development program has been reshaped to remap my vision. And if Africa is the gun, Benin is like a trigger. From being president in Benin, it's going to make a lot of change in the continent, from the African Union perspective to South Africa all over. I think it's something which is very key for people like myself, for my generation, to lead through strong reform, accountability, strong judiciaries, and transform, because government today must be performance-oriented. You have ministers, they must have a performance contract, accountability.
What is your message to young South Africans who are watching the show, who have a desire for success, who believe in the hashtag Black Child It's Possible? What is your message to them?
First thing I need to tell them that when you find yourself humiliated by a media, by any other person, you must never give up. You must smile and always look at those people as your strength, and don't attack them. And always believe in what you want to do. And remember that we are living in one of the greatest moments. The young South Africans, young African, it's time for us to take all kind of risk. VBS is 1% of the greater things we are going to do for this continent.
Dr. Ladislas, it has been my pleasure. Yeah, thanks for coming through.
Thank you very much.
Hope to speak to you soon.
I'm looking forward to see you in my journey in the continent.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Doing so well, and we're looking forward to see you.
Yeah, thank you,
You
Mr.
must come and make some
President.
speech. You must come and make some few speech again and take over from me.
Yes, sir.
In Africa.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that was Dr. Ladislas. He says he's the future president of Benin, the man who will save VBS. We'll see, but a dear friend and son of the fallen stalwart, Winnie Madikizela Mandela. I am Sifiso Mahlangu. This is Straight Talk, only on channel 405. We are called ANN7. Please communicate with me. My email address is sifisom@ann7.com. Pray for South Africa. It's a good night from me.